This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot. This is, let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get it.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
Social justice warriors who are fond of governing by hashtag like to say silence is violence. And we know that because it rhymes? The words victim and survivor have traveled a long way from their original usage. The baby from the Nirvana album says he's a victim. He's suing Nirvana for lifelong damages. I never thought I'd have to say this to a baby, but stop being such a baby.
Bill Maher and Piers Morgan teamed up and pushed back on a woke guest. And it was really funny, both of them, known for using common sense, didn't hold back as they broke down Katie Porter's arguments about Riley Gaines and women's sports. Every time Porter spoke, they replied with smart and sharp comebacks full of humor. The debate got fiery, tough, and super entertaining. Get ready, because things are about to heat up.
Should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should feel
What do you disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and how should compete.
What has she said that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's not?
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
But
she actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
Katie Porter started by attacking Riley Gaines for speaking up about women's sports. She said it should be up to sports officials to decide if men can compete in women's events. But Piers Morgan quickly disagreed. He pointed out that men have clear physical advantages like strength and speed. Porter tried to fight back, but both Morgan and Maher were ready. They used facts, logic, and humor to break her argument. It wasn't just a debate. It was a big reality check Porter didn't see coming.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports, so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff.
Katie Porter tried to recover by saying Riley Gaines was selfish and just wanted fame. But Piers Morgan shut that down fast. He said Riley isn't fighting for herself. She's fighting for all women who want fair competition. He called her brave and selfless for standing up for fairness and truth. Maher agreed, and you could feel the energy in the room change. Porter's argument fell apart under the weight of simple facts.
This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot. This is, let's put a male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get it.
It's crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
Then Bill Maher stepped in with powerful points. He reminded Porter about Title IX, the law that gave women equal chances in sports. For years, that law helped female athletes succeed. But now, he said, letting men compete with women takes away that progress. It's not equality, it's unfair. The room went quiet as Maher explained it clearly. His message hit hard. If fairness disappears from women's sports, Title IX loses its meaning. It was a true mic drop moment.
What's your answer then?
I think there's one or two answers. I think they either compete against their biological sex, as many of them did before, or you create an entirely new category. for transgender athletes. And then they're able to compete fairly. But what you cannot do is continue to allow more and more trans athletes to start decimating women's records, in some cases, irrevocably. It's just not fair.
Okay, I gotta end it.
I totally agree. The best and fairest solution is to make a separate category for transgender athletes. That way, no one has to change their body or hormones just to fit in. It's not about hate, it's about fairness for everyone. Trans athletes should have their own space to compete without arguments. And women should feel their games are fair too. If that means separate divisions, so be it. Sports are about fair play, not forced results. That's real common sense, the only way to keep competition honest. Maher and Morgan made that clear, and it's not the first time they've challenged extreme ideas.
Well, here's my 8 words people need to stop redefining. Hate, victim, hero, shame, violence, survivor, phobic, and white supremacy. Comedian Hannah Gadsby characterized Dave Chappelle's controversial Netflix special as hate speech dog whistling. Well, dog whistle refers to when someone puts things in code because they're afraid to come out and say what they really think. That's what you get from Dave Chappelle? He's afraid to say what he really thinks?
Dave Chappelle isn't scared of anyone. He's one of the few comedians who speaks the truth without fear or apology. He talks about big topics like gender, race, and politics with smart humor and confidence. People have tried to cancel him, but every time he comes back stronger. He doesn't just tell jokes, he makes people think. In a world where many stay silent, Chappelle keeps being brave and honest. That's why he's one of the last true truth-tellers in comedy.
And it's not hate speech just because you disagree with it, nor is it phobic. Phobic comes from the Greek word for something one fears irrationally, like spiders or germs, but now is used as a suffix for anything you just don't like. I've been called commitment phobic. No, I don't fear commitment, I just don't want it. Right. Other people do. Great. I don't call them single phobic. I don't like bowling. I'm not bowling phobic. And if I talk about how wrong I think it is to force women to wear a beekeeper suit all day, that's not being Islamophobic. I just don't like it. And I bet they don't either. I went as a ghost for Halloween once. I lasted about 20 minutes.
I get it. The word phobia is used way too much now. Just because someone doesn't agree doesn't mean they're scared or hateful. People twist words to protect certain ideas from any criticism. If you question something, you're instantly called hateful or close-minded. That shuts down real discussion. Progress needs debate, not silence. We should be able to disagree without fear. When we use words as weapons, we lose free speech and end up living in fear instead of understanding.
Also in the category of we just don't like it, so we're pretending it's something else, is the word violence. Last year there was a staff mutiny at the CBS drama All Rise when some of the writers, I'm sorry, I meant victims, took issue with a scene where 2 women are in an elevator and a naked man gets on and they just continue talking calmly. And if you think that's offensive, you should see how the guy pushed the button. But the writers on this show found the scene objectionable and sent off an email saying 2 women would not calmly continue a conversation with a naked white guy running into the elevator. That is violence. No, it's not.
I don't understand how people call everything violence these days. Not everything that shocks or offends is violent. For example, if a naked man steps into an elevator with 2 women, that's wrong and offensive. But it's not actual violence. It's indecent, not harmful in a physical way. The problem is, we keep expanding the word violence until it loses meaning. When we call everything trauma, we make real victims invisible. Words matter. Disagreement or offense isn't violence. It's part of living free.
Violence is when it hurts. It usually involves leaving a mark of some kind. Of course, innumerable things can lead to violence, but I'm sorry, you can't take that word and use it for stuff that's just scary to you or just verbal, which is something I literally learned in kindergarten. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but if you don't know how that one ends, you need to repeat kindergarten. Social justice warriors who are fond of governing by hashtag like to say silence is violence.
Violence means causing physical harm to someone. Yes, words can hurt feelings, but that's emotional pain, not physical damage. There's a difference between being hurt and being harmed. Today, people mix those up to make emotions seem like physical attacks. That's not helpful. If everything is called violence, then real violence doesn't stand out anymore. Words are powerful, but changing their meaning for politics only confuses people. Emotional pain needs care. Physical violence needs justice. Mixing them weakens both.
Social justice warriors who are fond of governing by hashtag like to say silence is violence. And we know that because it rhymes? The words victim and survivor have traveled a long way from their original usage. The baby from the Nirvana album says he's a victim. He's suing Nirvana for lifelong damages. I never thought I'd have to say this to a baby, but stop being such a baby.
This one's just funny. Imagine someone suing a famous band for using their baby photo on an album cover, even though it made history. It's silly. The picture was taken decades ago, long before the person even remembered it. Now they call it trauma? Sounds more like a cash grab. Maybe fame faded or money got tight. Either way, it shows how greed can turn something harmless into fake outrage for headlines.
In 2010, the New York Times used the term white supremacist on 75 occasions. Last year, over 700 times. Now, some of that, to be sure, is because Trump came along and emboldened the faction of this country that is truly white supremacist. It is, of course, still a real thing. But it shouldn't apply to something like, as more than a few have suggested, getting rid of the SAT test. Now, if we find the SAT test is slanted in such a way as to stack the deck in favor of Caucasians, if there are questions like, Biff and Chip are sailing a yacht, traveling at 12 knots to an Ed Sheeran concert on Catalina. If Catalina is 26 miles away, how many White Claws should they bring? Yes, then maybe, yeah.
Violence
So
by
what
definition
connects all these
involves
stories?
physical harm,
From
the
Katie
deliberate
Porter's
act of
debate
causing
to the
injury
misuse
or
of
the other
words like
person's body.
violent
Yes,
and
words
that
and certain
silly
actions
lawsuit.
can absolutely cause pain, but
One
not
truth,
physical.
common
There's a
sense
big
is
difference
dying.
between being hurt
Feelings
and
are
being
beating
harmed.
facts.
But lately, people have
People
purpose,
twist words
twisting
for power,
language to make
and
emotional
outrage
discomfort
replaces
seem
honesty.
equal to physical
Maher,
assault. Extortion might
Morgan,
sound
and Chappelle
compassionate, but it
stand out
actually
not because they're
cheapens real
perfect,
suffering.
but
If
because they
everything is
still
violence,
speak the
then
truth.
nothing truly
They
violent
remind us
stands
that
out
honesty
anymore.
isn't
Words
hate,
have power,
and being
but
uncomfortable
redefining
isn't
them to
being
suit an
harmed.
agenda doesn't
If we
help
keep mixing
anyone.
criticism
It only
with hate,
confuses and
we'll
divides.
lose real
Instead
debate.
of
What
stretching
we need
definitions
is
for
reason,
impact, we should be
courage,
precise
and truth,
on purpose.
not
Twisting
more censorship.
language to make emotional
Thanks for watching.
discomfort seem
Don't
equal
forget to like and
physical
subscribe
assault.
for more
Extortion might
videos like
sound
this.
compassionate.